Hello everyone, welcome to our webinar. Today we'll be talking about SOLIDWORKS PDM and how to go paperless with that system. My name is Dan Wang and I'm an application engineer here at DesignPoint. And the target audience of this presentation today is for PDM admins and people who want an overview of the capabilities of going paperless. We're going to be taking a high-level look at what it means to be going paperless and then taking a deep dive. So I'll be skipping over some fundamentals that I'm going to assume you already know. So here's the agenda. We're going to go over and have an overview. And then we'll be discussing the differences between standard and professional. And then I'll be actually going into how to set up the forms themselves and prepare those documents so that you can set it up in your own PDM environment. And then I'll be doing a live demo of some automation tools we have available later. So what are some options for going paperless in PDM? Basically, any existing company document can be integrated into PDM. Okay, so this allows you to monitor the changes and have it locked and managed by the PDM workflow. So some documents I have listed out here are the engineering change forms, root cause analysis reports, quotations, inspection reports, et cetera, et cetera. Now, if these documents are created or converted into a Microsoft Word or Excel document, you actually have the additional benefit of automation as well as being able to apply electronic approvals or signatures. And so this is great for tracking visibility, accountability, decreased lead times, version revision control, records for auditors, and data analytics. Simply put, if you put the document into your PDM system, you'll be able to take advantage of the capabilities of PDM, and it'll actually be able to help you become more efficient. So let's take a look at an example of a paperless workflow. Okay, so we have a material request form up here, and this document is a Word document. Okay, so starting off, the employee will fill out the relevant information on the data card that's connected to the form itself. So there's a link between the form and the data card within PDM. And so the data card is just an excerpt of the different fields you have within the form itself. The employee will send the document for approval through PDM. So it goes through the workflow, starts in under editing. The user sends it to pending approval for a manager to review it and approve it. Okay. So the manager is going to receive an email. He's going to approve it, and electronic signature and date is automatically applied. And you can see that through here. This is this normal setup for that through the transition actions. And then when it gets to the approved state, it's locked from editing. Okay. And just please note that this material request form can be any form that you might want to integrate into PDM. So let's take a look at the differences between PDM and standard versus professional. In PDM standard, in order to create a new document, and you would have to have a template file somewhere in your vault. Okay. That allows your user to basically copy that file and paste it to whatever folder he needs or needs that to be in. From there, the user can just go ahead and do the normal operations of filling out the data card, filling out the form, saving, checking in, and using the workflow to manage that file. Keep in mind, in PDM standard, you're limited to one workflow. So that one workflow has to manage all your files in the vault. For PDM Professional, there's some automation tools built in, so you can have the user automatically create a new document from their right-click menu. Okay. Now, you're not limited to one workflow. You can have different and multiple workflows to manage your documents as well as different processes you might have for that document. You can utilize serial numbers for consistent file naming structure, as well as using other tools such as PDM templates, dispatch, PDM API programming to further customize your electronic document. So let's take a look at how you actually set up these electronic forms. So we're going to be talking about how to set it up in Microsoft Word as well as Microsoft Excel. So starting off Microsoft Word, you're going to have to have the document in Word or convert it into Word. Okay. And just talking about some requirements, if you want to essentially view the document in the PDM preview window in your Vault view, you have to do these operations. Okay. And some requirements are, in order for a user to view or print a document, they need to have Microsoft Office on their machine. The PDM preview does not suffice unless you're using a special viewer. Next up, in order to set this up, I'm just going to basically go through the steps you would need. So here I have a quote form. It's in my Microsoft Word program, and I have it opened. I have basically a table here, and I'm basically clicking on the location in the table where I want, for example, in this case, the salesperson's name to be filled in automatically through PDM. So I'm going to basically click on that so that my cursor is sitting there. And then I'm going to basically go to File, Info, Properties, and then Advanced Properties. So we're going to basically set up some custom properties. If you're a SOLIDWORKS user, you're already used to using custom properties. It's essentially the properties or metadata that you have connected to the file. It tells you about what the file is, and you can actually link it to different parts of your file. So in order to create that link, we're going to create the salesperson custom property. So we're going to go to the Custom tab after clicking Advanced Properties. We're going to type in salesperson. We're going to type in dash as a filler value, and we're going to click Add, and then OK. So that's how you create the custom property inside of Microsoft Word. Next up is inputting that custom property into this field. Okay, so you would basically click on the quick parts icon and then jump over to the field row. So click on that. This dialog should pop up. You will want to scroll down to doc property. And then under doc property, you can find the salesperson custom property you've just created. So select that and click OK. The important thing to note is that your cursor is sitting in the salesperson location where you want that to be filled in. Okay. And you can see once we click OK, we have that dash filled in there. And this dash is what we previously put in for the value of a salesperson. Okay. So that's how you do it and set it up within Microsoft Word. There's an additional step that needs to be done on the PDM side so that we can basically connect your data card to a variable which is connected to the property you set up in the Word document. So in order to do so, we're going to jump into our administration tool, log into your Vault, and then you want to right click on the variables node and select new variable. And some of these steps are going to be pretty similar between different software. So we're going to type in salesperson as a variable name. The important thing to note is to make sure you type in the correct block name. So this is basically the location where your custom properties is stored inside of a certain software. Okay, so for Microsoft Office documents or PDFs for SOLIDWORKS files, that block name is custom property, capital C, capital P, no space in between. Okay. Next up, you want to type in the attribute name. This attribute name has to match the property that you typed in inside the Word document. So it has to match this name. Okay. In order to be consistent, it's better to have the same name and string of characters between the different files. So you can see that everything is the same, so there's no deviation, no confusion. After you've typed that in, you want to basically designate which file formats you want this to be applied to. So this is a Word document, so we're going to type in doc and docx. Once you click OK, the variable's created, and then the last step is to link it to your data card. So you're going to go into your data card, you're going to basically put in a label, put in a control, and assign it that variable. So from now on, whatever your value is within your data card, or whatever value is in your form, they both will be reflected together. Okay, so essentially, if you see here, we have a dash for salesperson because that's what the value is. That will show up in the file's data card as dash here as well. Next up, we're going to show you how to set up electronic forms within Microsoft Excel. Okay, this is actually a lot simpler than Microsoft Word. So the same requirements apply. We're going to open up my Excel document, and this is a quote document that I have, pretty similar to the one we just created in Word. I have a salesperson cell that I need to fill in with the salesperson's name. Okay, so the first step is to select the cell that you want a field to be linked to. You're going to click on the name box, and you're going to type in salesperson and type and hit the enter button. Okay. Next up, you're going to click File, Info, Properties, Advanced Properties, and go to the Custom tab. Okay, all of this is pretty similar to what we just discussed. You're going to type in the salesperson under the name. You're going to select Link to Content. Okay, and then you're going to select salesperson. So this is basically how you link it to that sale. So basically, what you've typed in here for number 2 is the name for this cell. Okay, and what we're doing here is, here's our custom property. We're going to basically link it to the name of that cell. So when you click link to content, it's linking this salesperson custom property to the name of the salesperson's cell, which is this. Okay. Afterwards, you'll want to click add and then click OK. Next up, on the PDM side of things, you're going to want to do something similar to what we did earlier. You'll want to go to the variables node in the administration tool. And because we already have a salesperson variable, we're just going to add to the file extension. Okay, so previously we put in doc and docx. We're going to add XLS and XLSX, which is the Excel file format. And keep in mind, this is in order for us to link the corrected variable to the data card. Okay, so we just talked about how to set up these documents so that it can be used in PDM. Let's take a look at a live demo of it working in action, as well as some automation using PDM templates. So let me jump over to my computer. I'm going to open up my File Explorer. And I'm already logged into my Vault here. And then I'm going to jump into my new materials request. So essentially, we have this form here, and this is a form that we use to request new samples, new material. Okay. I'm going to basically launch it from a PDM template in order to create a new document. So I'm going to do a right-click, new template, I'm gonna do a new material request form. So once I click on that, as a user, I'm gonna have this pop-up for me to input information. You can see it pulled in some information. So I'm logged in as the admin, it actually pulled in my name. I can't make a change to that. I have a list here of the different groups. I'm gonna say I'm gonna be the engineering group, select a date, and I'm gonna just basically fill this information pretty quickly. So we're gonna say Bob, department, engineering, and we're gonna type in the item numbers, 1, 2, 3, 6, location, PA, type, blank, date, and select that. Okay, so I'm not gonna fill in all the values. We're just gonna take a look at how this works. I'm gonna click OK, and you're gonna see a new document created, and it's also been serialized as well. If I open up that document, you're gonna basically see the same information I typed in to my card. So this is the automation that I was talking about. Now this is a PDM Pro feature. If you were using PDM Standard, it would be pretty similar. You would essentially have your template file copied somewhere, do a copy, and we're gonna basically jump into the folder that we need to have it in. Do a paste. We're gonna basically rename this to the number that we want. So maybe this is MRF222. Click save. I'm gonna basically type in the information in my data card, fill in this information, and take a look at how this works. Click save. Open up that document, and you're gonna see that same information I filled out here on my data card. So this is how you would do it in PDM Standard. Okay. So that's a live demo of how PDM templates work. Next up, we're gonna basically take a look at a demo of how we can use dispatch to automate this process. So pretty similar to PDM templates, you can have PDM using dispatch to automatically pull and copy the file over. The nice thing about dispatch is that it's programming, and you can actually do more things than the PDM templates can offer. So I'm going to show you an example where we have an ECR form where every time we need to make a engineering change to a certain part file, we can easily create an ECR form for that file. For example, if let's see, this is 100,050 part. If this part needs a revision and an engineering change form has to be created for it, what we can do is we can right-click on this part, select Forms, ECR form, and keep in mind this is using dispatch now, not PDM templates. If I click on that, it allows me to essentially, I just did a quick refresh and it created my form here based off the part number and with a suffix of ECR. Okay. Now the nice thing about dispatch is that not only can you copy the file like the PDM template does, you can actually have it ask you for information so that it can fill out the data card. You can also have it essentially transfer variables that are located on your data card, such as description, such as doc number, such as weight, and copy that into your ECR form onto its own data card with that one click of a button. So basically using the right click forms and clicking this. Now I don't have that set up today. I did go over how to transfer variables using dispatch in my last webinar last month. So if you have any questions about how to use dispatch, how to transfer variables, I would refer to that webinar video. And just to take a quick look at how I set up that dispatch script. So if you attended my last webinar, you would be familiar with this. I'm going to go into my administration tool. I'm going to jump into my demo vault, go into add-ins, dispatch, administrative actions, and I have a dispatch script called new ECR. Click on that. And you can see here that it's a pretty short script. I have it set to menu command, and that's how I have the right click option. And then I'm basically using a copy file action. So I did an add copy file. And if I double click on that, you can see here that I'm copying the file from a static location. This is where my template file is stored. And my destination file is based off of the selected file's file name with a suffix of ECR. And you can see this is basically how I grabbed that file name. Okay, so I did have to create a dispatch variable for that. Okay, that concludes our webinar. If you do have any questions, please feel free to send us an email at info@design-point.com.